with the whole meth stuff going on, right? So recently we've been diving into that world, trying to get a little bit further in that world, and kind of push forward with it. We've been asking around, and we heard that you guys may potentially have a lab. Now, obviously, if that's not something you want to talk about, you don't have to, you know, scream and shout about it. But we wanted to approach you and basically ask if there would be any chances of working some sort of agreement to maybe use it as well if you did have one, or to, if it was a site you're not really bothered about anymore, to maybe even purchase it down the line, or come up with some sort of agreement, if you would be open to that if you had a lab.
Okay. I'm curious, what part of the city did you get your information from?
So once again, I'll just be completely honest with you. We heard that there is a couple of people trying to contest you for that right now. So we heard that from the south side. That's what the south side has been saying. You know, that's what we.
I know exactly where that's coming from then.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So I appreciate you being upfront and honest. So I'll return the favor. We do have a lab. We've had a lab for a long time. In fact, I think we were probably the second or the third lab in the city since the public ones were shut down. And that's actually some of the shit that you were buying in the past. That's where it was coming from. We have tried working with people in the past. And of course that presents some serious security issues. You need to trust your partners in that endeavor to the utmost. Otherwise, you will always be looking over your shoulder. And one of the things that we have learned is that you cannot cook in peace if you are constantly looking over your shoulder.
Yeah.
So that is why we are no longer considering sharing it with anybody.
Okay.
That being said, I'll also be upfront and honest in that it is currently something that we are considering selling.
Okay.
Now the last person we had a conversation with was not very considerate of the pricing. In fact, actually, it was a little disrespectful in the way that they were going about it. Now I'm going to leave the rest up to Arthur as to how much he wants to sort of go over about our situation with that, as he is the one that's in charge of that.
Telling you, chat, being upfront and honest always works better.
So, like Matthias said, we've been sharing it in the past. And right now we're looking to sell it. Now, the price, we set the bar where we felt like it was appropriate, and that was 10 million. Some people, when they heard that price, they started screaming like crazy. Some people in the south side, they were thinking that we were trying to make the big bucks. But the reality is you can make that money with the lab in literally 2 weeks. Maybe a little bit less.
Yeah, the lab produces around 100K worth of product per cook. So,
yeah. So you're going to recoup eventually.
Yep.
Now, why is the price so high? It kind of tells us who actually wants to put in the effort and put in the work to actually work towards something. Obviously, you guys might already have that kind of money. We're not really sure how the economy in the city is right now with the rest of the crews, but kind of see our budgets and we kind of go off of that. Yeah, we already have one customer in line, and we're probably going to be giving them a deadline. If they don't come through, then we move on to your offer.
Did they give you they say they're happy to pay the 10?
Yes.
Okay.
They even reached back and they gave us an update as to what their current situation is. But yeah.
Okay.
I haven't heard since, so I need to reach back, make sure that they're still interested, because Who knows? Maybe they're not interested anymore. Maybe they changed their mind and they don't want to deal with it. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a lot of headaches around it.
Yeah.
And I can understand people if they don't want to deal with it anymore.
Okay. Well, yeah, if you, like you say, if you don't hear from them, or, you know, for whatever reason they pull out, we're definitely up for having a conversation and be respectful of that price as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we like I said, we had another conversation with someone else about this fairly recently, and the conversation went very differently. We told them, well, this is something that we've had, we butted heads with in the past, and we weren't really too happy with how that person carried themselves when they came to the conversation. And so we gave them a price that reflected how we feel about them and how we feel about the way that they would go about dealing with this particular asset. There are certain crews in the city that we wouldn't entertain this conversation with. There are certain crews in the city that we would give kind of an outrageous price to because we know that they would squander the opportunity. And then there's crews like yourselves who approach it respectfully, but they're very upfront and honest, and have always been respectful of what we're trying to do here in the past. And, you know, like you said, I've worked with you in the past, and I know that you don't fuck around.
Yeah.
You take things seriously when they need to be taken seriously. And so we're not going to fuck around with you.
That's that connection, that plus one respect.
Disrespect you by giving an outrageous price, just to try and squeeze another dollar out of you, you know?
Yo, Park, thank you for the 6 months. Yeah, no, of course, that's kind of, to be honest, like, we was aiming to, like, respect what price you was gonna say. And that's not really too far away from what I was expecting.
Yeah. We shared it. We shared 50% of it. So we went into a partnership with another crew, and they paid $5 million to use it for half the day. We actually negotiated them, like they negotiated us down to 5. We initially asked for a little bit more, but they drove a hard bargain. So the current value that we saw it at and that was accepted by another crew was, you know, 50% for 5 million, so 100% for 10.
Yeah. And that 50-50 is definitely something you wouldn't consider anymore just because of the stress.
We would need to have known that particular crew for a very long time and trust them unconditionally.
Yeah, understandable.
And even with this other crew we were working with, we weren't, like, we wanted to get there with them, and we rolled the dice and we took a risk. Thankfully, it didn't burn us. But
JS, thank you for the 5 months, bro.
Partnership ended.
Appreciate you, bro.
We've had a number of people come knocking on our door saying that a little birdie told them about XYZ. And initially it was a little bit silly. And so there's just so many eyes on labs in general now. It's become a bit of a headache for us, and we know that there are people up in the trees watching. We've done runs where we all jump blacked out into a car and we just drive down somewhere random, and sure enough there's somebody following. So we're well aware that it's being watched. We're well aware that there are people trying to steal it. It's not going to happen because they're being very fucking obvious about it.
You know who those people are, right?
I've used submarines, I've used parachutes, I've used once-off helicopters to do simple cooks. I'm not gonna lie to you. The heat is there.
We're not, we haven't been driving down to the lab blacked out in their car, right? Like, we're not stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it. Well, I mean, you know, for someone to even tell us that they're looking for that lab, I mean, they're obviously not being secretive with it, you know? They're just talking about it openly.
Yeah, you don't, you know, we've heard about labs being stolen in the past, and you don't go just about a year owning a lab and no one even knowing about it by, you know, being a loudmouth and being obvious about how you travel to and from it.
Very true.
I feel like the only reason that people even know that or even think that we had a lab is because we went into a partnership, which began conversations. So yeah, I think our current situation is, you know, like I said, I've known you in the past. I'd be happy to work with you, and you know, work out a deal. But like I said, we do have a current person that we're speaking to that we need to honor. But
Yeah,
should that
that
fall through, we'll call you immediately and we'll come to the table.
Sounds good. I appreciate you even having a conversation, you know, and being open and
of course,
straightforward.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing us into your guys' place.